In a few minutes, I'm sitting down with Nicole LaRue. She's with the Barksdale and affiliates. She's coming to sit down with me to go over the real estate market of 2025. And I want to hear, how is she a realtor and she homeschool her kids at the same time? I can't imagine doing that. But she's going to sit down with me and go over what to expect for 2025. And we get a chance to get to learn a little bit more about Nicole. All right, see ya. All right, welcome to another episode of the Mortgage Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Taylor, and I have my friend, Nicole LaRue. She's here today.
Hello.
And I know you guys are used to me just talking to the camera. That gets a little boring.
No, it doesn't. No, it's good stuff that you put on there, so not boring.
I try to make mortgages not seem so unsexy.
Yes, right. Yes, put some finesse on there.
So me and Nicole was on the phone, and we decided to actually do a real quick episode because we have these conversations all the time.
Exactly.
Anytime I have like a question in mind, or I call her my psychologist because she has just that pleasant voice.
Oh, thank you.
And very easy to talk to.
Thank you.
But we're gonna get a chance to get to know her just a little bit, and then we're gonna get into some topics.
Okay, let's
So
go.
Nicole, I know you work with Barksdale and the affiliates, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yep. So how long have you been there?
So I started with them January of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've been
almost 3 years.
Yeah, so I've been an agent since 2016. I took a break, having children, and I wanted to grow my family. And then I was like, I want to come back to real estate, but I want to go to an intimate brokerage. So I was praying, and I'm like, I Googled it, and then I found Barksdale, and the rest was history.
Right. So you had it connected pretty quick.
It was quick. It was like on the phone, we conversed. And then when we met in person, it was just like, I go by like spirits and like the vibes and the energy.
Yeah.
So like when we finally connected, it was like, okay, you know what? Everything that he's saying aligns with the journey that I want to take within real estate. So it worked.
Yeah. So like that family feel.
Yes.
It's not just about selling. You have to feel comfortable.
Yeah, it doesn't feel corporate. Like I came from corporate America, worked at Bank of America, and then the two brokerages that I joined previously, it just felt so corporate, like I was an employee.
Right.
And not that I have a problem with with authority or working underneath someone, but
you want to be yourself.
Yeah. So if I'm, taking all the courses and paying all this money, and I have a vision and a goal myself, my idea was like when I joined a brokerage, I can make it look like, what I want it to be.
Right.
And the other brokerages just didn't align with that, but Barksdale, it did. It allowed me to grow me and allow my business to be based off of me.
Gotcha.
With, of course, following the guidelines of being a real estate agent.
Right. We're going to take care of the compliance.
There you go. Yes.
She's always thinking ahead of time.
I am. So let me put that plug out there.
So real estate, and one of the biggest things that I'm found of is the fact that you homeschool your kids.
I do.
Right. So how is that going?
I love it.
Yeah.
So, long story short, the reason why I wanted to be a real estate agent, I'll say growing up, everyone plays Monopoly, right?
Right.
So I was like really good at Monopoly. I'm really good at anything I do.
So you say.
But
right.
No. Listen.
It's a fact.
If you come to the Monopoly table, like I'm like really great, and I'm always the banker, not because I cheat.
Absolutely.
But I win because like I'm really great. Besides that point, so that was like my introduction into real estate, and then I purchased my first home myself at 22. And that journey of purchasing a home, it just felt like something was missing. Like I didn't really have a lot of knowledge given to me, where it's like I was just purchasing a home, but I really didn't understand like the depth of what I was doing.
Let me stop right there really quick.
Yeah.
So you bought the home by yourself, or you were?
Me and my husband.
Your
so
husband,
we were engaged at the time. We were about to
okay.
get married, and we purchased a home together.
Okay.
And then my grandfather passed. And when he had passed, my grandmother moved from North Carolina down to Delaware, and she had a real estate agent, but she felt as though like she just wasn't finding what she wanted. So I started going online, and I found the house that she lives in currently, and I was like, I really enjoy being a part of someone's new journey.
Right.
Like, so I was like, okay, I enjoyed that. So I kind of suppressed the feeling, and I'm like working, I have a job, right? So then I got pregnant, and once I gave birth, I'm like, I can't go back. I really love doing this. So moving forward, real estate was like my calling, and I knew it would work with the flexibility of the vision I had with raising my children, of homeschooling them, because I already felt that prior to the pandemic. I always knew if I had children, I would homeschool them. So it just works.
Do you have to go through is there a curriculum or a test that you have to go through before you can homeschool, or they just...
Surprisingly, in Delaware, no. Now, other states, each state has different laws. But in Delaware, to be honest, you register your homeschool, and I would say, unfortunately, but fortunately, it's one of those things where it's not heavily regulated. So if I wanted to, I could just really not teach them anything.
Well, I guess the thing would be is if they're passing their tests, obviously.
And there are it's everything based off of you. Now you can purchase curriculums, which I do. I go off of Mia Academy for my children, along with we do a lot of hands-on. They were younger, so it was more so what do you want to learn today? Introducing fractions and math through cooking and baking, and a lot of hands-on, them exploring. That's how the foundation of their teaching was. Now as they're getting older, my one child, she loves building. She's obsessed with architect and all those things. So it's I'm honing into subjects she really has to be good with math if she wants to, build and stuff like that. But Delaware doesn't have a high regulation, which is almost scary because...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Where it's we can just
what if
be home.
What if you're not that smart? What
if your children only know how much you know? Honestly, okay, so I will say this. In the very beginning, with my personality, I like to do all things well. And so
I kind of picked up on that. Yeah.
What, really? So I give it all I have. And I was finding oh my God, I'm not a teacher, and I don't want my children to only know what I know and to only be interested in the things that I was interested in. Then I realized, you know what, Nicole, you're not a teacher, you're a mom. You know how to be a mom, which is your journey is not to control your children, but guide them, right? So I believe in all resources. The homeschool community in Delaware is massive. So I have, I'm in several different groups, and they do homeschool events for children to meet up together. Gotcha. So it's not just they're home all day. They get to participate in different activities. They're in dance. So.
So I think that's a misconception. We have a friend of ours. She homeschools her kids too, and that was my concern. Was I believe in homeschooling, but I guess I felt as though the child themselves may not be as how do you say when you put them in a social environment. Yeah, whatever. I know there's a name for it.
Children of the Corn.
Correct.
Where it's where they're
the
a little
social
odd.
skills may be a little off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she told us, no, we have meetups and stuff like that, so they get a chance to meet other kids. And she said the same thing. She was in Maryland and Virginia at that time.
Okay.
And she's saying that it was continuously growing, and that her kids know a lot of other kids too, so they get a chance to do that as well. But one thing I did find, most kids I know that have been homeschooled, they're smarter. I would say more advanced, because I think you get more time one-on-one with the teacher.
Exactly.
And the way that you learn, to me, I think I learned a lot better the way that you just described. So if I was learning math by being inside of the kitchen or doing some type of project in the house, I think that my mind probably would have grasped math a lot easier.
Exactly.
That way.
For me, growing up, I was always hands-on. I love working with my hands. And I was an honor roll student. However, it was hard for me because I didn't like studying. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know how to study. So in school, it's I would be the type, I'll have to doodle as the teacher is teaching for me to comprehend, because it's I'm tuning them out. I love working with my hands. I went to a vocational school. I went to Hudson, and I took up dental lab, worked with my hands. I love building. That's my pastime. I'm a hands-on kind of person. So I feel with homeschooling, I'm able to really hone in on my child's skills and hone in on the way they learn, because a lot of times you have one teacher teaching 30 different learning styles, right? Because 30 different students. And the child's going to get lost in that, because if the teacher's only teaching this one way, a lot of times we are labeling children as if they don't understand it. It's just the way we're probably presenting the information. So I am grateful, and I don't think anything's wrong. It just works for my household.
Right.
I'm grateful that I'm able to introduce them to things in a more fun way.
Right.
My other daughter, she is more like, I don't feel like doing it. But when I present it in a package where it's like, hold on, I just learned and it didn't feel like it. It's like,
Right.
I know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's the best way you should learn in life.
And I think also when you become an adult, that's how you learn anyway. You know
Tell
what I'm
me
saying?
about
So
it.
it's like, okay, now I got it.
On the job training.
All right, it's 2025, and it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. If we're looking to purchase that home, this is the year to do it. If you're looking to refinance, let's discuss that. If this is going to be the year where you're going to buy the first investment property, let's discuss it. But you need a pro. Let's go over your strategy. Let's see where you're at. The only way you're going to be able to get there, you got to have a plan. DM me. Let's discuss this. Let me be your coach. Let me be your accountability partner. Let's get the process started now. This is Gary Taylor with the Fluent Mortgage and the host of the Mortgage Motivation Podcast.
Training.
So yeah,
You just said something that I didn't know.
Oh, what?
I went to school for dental laboratory. Yep. I went to college. That's what I went to college for. So
What?
my uncle, he owned it. If my cousin sees this, she's gonna trip out. But I went to school for that. So my uncle, he owned a laboratory in Panama
Really?
City, Florida. Yeah.
Wow.
So when I was in the military, I left active duty and I transitioned to the Air National Guard, and I went to school for dental lab tech.
That is a coincidence.
Yeah.
Listen.
But I hated it. I didn't like it at all.
Why? Oh my God, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
My dental lab
Right.
teacher, Mr. Wayne Oakley,
Right.
he was in the Navy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he always told us stories, and he became a teacher
Yeah.
at Hudson, and I loved it. I remember when I did our presentation in school, you have to do a presentation of everything you learned
Right.
in order to graduate. And it was Dodd Dental Lab, and they were like, would you work for us? And I'm like,
Right.
no. I was 17 when I graduated.
Right.
And they told me, well, if you do, you have to cut your fingernails. I used to wear my nails like
Right.
this long.
Right. That's
like, I'm
not
not
that's
doing
not
that.
get it.
No, I'm not doing that.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, but it was fun. I just like the fact that I was able to work with my hands. That's exciting for me. So just transitioning into real estate, I feel like interacting with people, and I get an opportunity to be a part of their lives. So
Right.
to me, it's hands-on of like, okay, you know what? I may not be a part of the rest of your memories, but I played a part in like housing where
Oh,
your memories
that's a
are going to
big
take
milestone.
place.
Yeah,
So
big milestone.
it's me walking in my purpose, and I enjoy it. Like
Right.
I like the hands-on, let me get in there,
Right.
let me get dirty with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Gotcha.
maybe not dirty with you,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, I'm in there with you.
I got you. So how was that juggling, homeschooling and being a realtor at the same time? How was that?
For me, I am into balance. I don't like taking on more than what I'm able to handle at the time, and having a village is important. My mommy has retired, so
Okay.
she has always helped me with when it comes to my children, teaching
Right.
the curriculum. Like right now, they're not home by themselves.
Okay.
They're with my mother.
I figured they was home by themselves.
Right.
Like, Nicole, can you at least
I
check
know,
on your kids?
like I'm doing this interview, and it's like they got it. But no, my mother, she helps out like significantly, and yeah, that's how I balance it, and I try to not try.
We talked about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually schedule everything around it. So
Okay.
scheduling is, you would think I'm like a military person, because I'm like,
Right.
I have to have a schedule. Everything has to have its area. So yeah.
Gotcha. All right, well, I know it's 2025. For you guys, Happy New Year, Merry
Happy
Christmas,
New Year,
all
yeah.
that great stuff. And you know what happens in the new year, the resolutions, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to the gym.
I'm gonna go to the
I'm gonna
gym.
eat right. I'm gonna get rid of this tummy, the big back.
Right.
To all of
Big
this.
back energy.
So when it comes to 2025, and I know there are strategies, because we talk about this all the time. Strategies change with real estate
Yeah.
and the mortgage industry. So what do you find in the end of 2024 into 2025? What are you seeing changing with the real estate industry, and what are you doing differently with your clients?
That's a really
Really
great
good question.
That really was. Oh, you almost got me. So as you were speaking, I'm trying to, I was thinking in my head, I think one of the biggest things that I have to incorporate is technology. And people are like, how do you bring technology into real estate? And a lot of the things that I'm working with are clients who they're moving over, right, from out of state over here. They don't have the availability of sometimes seeing a home that just comes on the market.
Right. So
for me, offering virtual appointments, going there, giving a video just for them. Not like
kind of like what we did during the pandemic.
Yeah. So, well, during the pandemic, my license was on hold because I wasn't active. But I'm realizing like, oh, okay, technology, it does play a part for convenience because right now everyone wants to be convenient. Like they want everything to be convenient for them at their fingertips because that's just the world we're in. So that is one thing in 2024 that I was like, okay, I need to get into that. In 2025, I'm like, all right, stop with the I need to and just do it.
Just do it.
And just
action.
Like Nike said, just do it, right?
Yep.
So I've been, that's one of the changes. I don't know, the year's just starting, so I have to see it. I'm a kind of person where it's like, you know, Eddie says it all the time, like you fly and then you learn on the way down. You just jump and you'll learn on the way down. Yeah. So as I'm going along, I'm not too much in my ego where I have to be right. I will change it in the middle of it and you won't even know it. So I'm willing to be adaptive and flexible in that kind of way. So as I'm doing it, I'll make the changes that I need to. Yeah,
because I've seen for sure with of course, the rates being where they're at.
Exactly.
And I think a disadvantage too, and it can be an advantage at the same time. The disadvantage is having social media and people seeing, oh, the market is, bad right now. The rates are going crazy. It's not a good time to purchase a home. But at the same time, the way I look at it is if a lot of people stop looking for homes, but you were out in the market looking for a home, to me, that would be the time to attack.
Exactly.
Because now that's less competition.
Yeah, so agree with them online. Be like, yeah, don't do it. Hey, can you put it
That's right. That's right.
That's how you do it. But I have a question for you. So you are the mortgage person. Look, I'm gonna flip the interview.
Okay. She likes to be in control. You see? Yeah.
Can't hide it. So with the state of the economy, right? You have a lot of people who are discouraged because they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they're almost feeling like, speaking of finances, like how can I even save and I can't come up with groceries and all these kind of things. How do you speak to someone who needs to change their current circumstances and they're like, I need to like own a home, but I'm feeling like it's not something that I can obtain because look at the state, like I can't even figure out, what my next meal is gonna look like. Yeah,
actually, I run into that all the time. I would say I always start where that person is at.
Okay.
And if you're able to save $100, $200 a month, then we have to use that because that's all you have. Because when you're dealing with the higher rates and you're dealing with the groceries costing more, gas, if you have a gas card and stuff like that, you're paying more in different avenues of your life. And so you have to find a way to make it work. Because the market is the market. We talk about that all the time. Yeah. So if you want to buy a home, you have to stay active, keep your credit scores high. If you do have to wait, work on the credit scores, work on budgeting and saving money. Because what happens is you find a lot of down payment assistance programs, they come out, they make changes here and there, so that there may be something that happens in your life that will bring the money to you. Yeah. But to me, going back to what you were saying earlier about energy, if you have the right mindset and you want to make a purchase, you're going to find a way to do it. I can't change the market. You can't change the market.
Exactly.
So we all have to, I always speak in football terms.
Oh, there we go.
You got to run an audible. So sometimes you may see something, okay, well, I can't run that play anymore. I got to change it to a different play. Same thing happens in this market. So if you want to purchase a home, you have to stay in front of the pros and we'll help guide you and give you a strategy that will work. So like I said, it may be a situation where you could purchase right now or you may have to wait. But either way, just keep that in front of you, knowing that you want to purchase versus going down that rabbit hole. Well, I just continue to rent. I continue to rent. Yeah. Because you can't do that.
Exactly. And I think even in the waiting process, it's important for people to realize the waiting doesn't mean like you're not working towards that goal. It just means while you're waiting, these are the things you need to execute. Because a lot of people hear the thing of wait and they take that for a no and they just stop. And it's like, you're almost there. Don't give up. Yeah. And it's like, I think, not I think, you actually did a video where you talked about your vision, your plan, and your action. So in that waiting period, I think if people were to execute their plan and then put action to their plan, honestly, they're waiting for 3 months can turn into their yes.
For sure. Absolutely. And you never know what's going to happen with the market. So
Exactly.
you may see the rates drop. You may see home prices come down.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? And I'm speaking from, I'm hitting my mic. I'm speaking from experience too.
Yeah.
So when we first moved here to Delaware, we rented for a few years before we decided to buy because we wanted a certain type of house. So we had
Exactly.
the patience, but we didn't stress about it. We just waited until it was that time to make that purchase.
Yeah.
And I will say, you're not going to hear me say this too often, there are times when it's good to rent. You know what I mean? It depends on your situation. And
Okay.
everyone's situation is different. If you're going to be somewhere temporarily, yeah, maybe you may not want to purchase a home and get yourself that involved into a purchase. But if you know you're going to be in a location for quite a few years, yeah, that's still a good time to look into it. And also going back to just being patient. If you have a strategy involved, if you have a strategy set up for where you want to live, what you want to purchase, just keep that in line with your vision. So she's talking about the VPA. Keep that in line with your vision and then do the proper steps in order for you to make the purchase. But the biggest thing, don't change your mind. Don't change your mindset. Don't get discouraged.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing. I know we spend a lot of time talking to our clients, trying to keep them motivated to purchase.
Exactly.
But guess what? When they get under contract, all of that changes. And so that's what we're here for, is to let you know that 2025, this is definitely your year.
Yes.
But you have to have that positive energy about what you want. If you're negative about everything, you're never going to purchase.
If you're negative about everything, you're going into a situation looking for why it doesn't work.
Right.
When you're positive, because this is how I always look at situations. It's going to be what it is, right? The only thing I have control over is the way I act through it.
Right.
So it's like, even like when you think of suffering a loss of someone,
Right.
where it's inevitable, it's going to happen. That's going to happen regardless if I'm happy or sad. So the one thing I can change is how I'm going to move through that situation. And I honestly, I do walk around life with a positive mindset, even if something
sure.
bad happened. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I can't be tested, but I don't like giving control to others on how I respond.
Right.
But I do like having a mindset of, okay, what can I control in this? And when it comes to looking for a home, you may not get that dream home right away, right?
Correct.
But if you start the process of meeting yourself where you're at and say, all right, well, this is what I can afford for now. Okay, the rugs, I don't like carpet. You know what? Then change it to vinyl.
Correct.
Eventually. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up in what everything's not versus looking at but I'm starting. Like, this is my starting point, and that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So what do you say to, because we have a few clients right now that's out looking for homes.
Yeah.
What do you say to a client that say their price point is at $400,000, but they see that, okay, at that price point, there's people that's overbidding, going to 420, 430, but they can't do that.
Yeah.
So what do you tell that person? Do they come down that price point so now they have a better chance of getting that house, or do they just continuously just put out offers until they get what they want?
All right. So there's a balance there, right? So when I work with every client, I send them a video that I prayerfully they're watching. And it's a come up with your list of your non-negotiables, your needs, your wants, and the things you don't mind having. And the reason why I do that is prior to looking for a home, everyone has a mindset of I don't want this, I don't want that.
Right.
I'm not negotiating on location.
Right.
I'm not going over this price, neighborhood, sticking to that. Then when they start, everything that they said they were willing to not negotiate on because they're desperate, they start saying, oh my God, well,
Right.
I gotta have this. So when we go into a home, I'm like, don't focus on the things you can change. Focus on the things that you can't change. So when you're looking at a home, you can't change the neighborhood. You're not changing the location as far as proximity to your everyday life, work, or what have you. And those are the things that you want to focus on. So if they're putting in offers and they're being beat out, we have to almost start dissecting the homes they're looking at.
Right.
Are the homes we're looking at, for us to get it at the price we want, are we wanting a home that's completely with the bells and whistles?
Correct.
because maybe you might have to add your own bells and
Right.
whistles
Absolutely,
eventually.
yeah.
And so it's a conversation with each person on what can you change about this, because I'm very big on compromise, not settling. There's a difference.
Oh, big time.
So when I explain that to them, you are going to have to make compromises, but never settle.
Have the same conversations.
So yeah, that's how we get through that. And luckily, once I break it down for them and they think about it, they're willing to exchange some of those things that they thought was a need and realize it's in a category of a want.
Yeah, I call it just a marriage. And I say, if you, just like on my end, you may love the payment, but you hate the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not going to work, because if you move, and I've seen this before, a person that just settled on a home because they like the payment, and then they call me a few months later, Gary, I wish I would have bought this house. I want to find another house.
Yeah, there's no return.
Yeah, you can't really do that. So I always say because it's an emotional decision and it's a financial decision too at the same time, and we got to hit both. And so if we're not hitting both, then we have to make changes. And so it's important that you get with your team.
Yeah.
And so on the real estate side and on the mortgage side, to ensure that you're making a really good decision. And if Nicole picks up that you're looking at a home that you're not really feeling, she's going to tell you that.
Yeah, I'm going to just remind you, and I'm not going to remind you in a sense of, because of course, this is how my bread and butter is, how I get paid.
Right.
But for me, real estate is bigger than just money. Like if I was only in real estate for the money, I think that's foolish. Like when I think of why I'm an agent, I want to make an impact. And for me, I always want to bring, like, so I'm a psychologist, right? And but that's how I get intimately involved. And I think if people looked at us as just a part of the journey rather than these we're not going to here to reprimand you. We're here to help guide you, almost like
team.
Parenting. Yeah, I'm on your team. Right. So I'm just here to remind you, hey, remember you said, are you sure? You said you didn't want this, or are you sure you're fine with this area because it's about 2 hours away from your job, and you said you only want to be 30 minutes away. So,
but you can't do that. I'm gonna stop you there. That's too far. We wouldn't even allow that.
Right. So it's are you sure this is where you want to go? And I'll just remind you now. If you say I'm like, okay, you rocking, I'm rolling.
Right.
But I don't ever want it to be a thing that I didn't remind you. And like I said, I'm grateful that I have been able to really have a rapport with my clients where I'm able to have those conversations that may be uncomfortable, because you need someone on your team to be like, hey, I know I'm not your yes man right now, but hey, you might want to change this around. And that's the kind of people you want on your team who challenge you to be better.
You need that person in your life, period.
That is, that is
true.
true. That is true.
Absolutely. All right. So you mentioned earlier, you and Eddie, I know you guys got a real strong relationship.
Yeah.
They just started a podcast.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell you something about Nicole. Nicole, when I first met her, I don't know how long it's been now. When I first met her, really no social media.
Exactly.
Like any of that.
100%.
Now she's on her and Eddie has a podcast.
Yes.
And I went to her page and she got so many videos on there now. So they're killing. I love the podcast.
Thank you.
Tell us about your podcast.
It's called Beyond the Grind. Let's talk about it. So, like you said, everybody who I converse with, it's never just real estate, or it just, especially if it's a organic rapport. So Eddie and I were like, hey, we should just start recording our regular conversations because they're helpful to us. Right. And it's not just, we named it Beyond the Grind because it's beyond the grind of working. It's not like we're more than just real estate agents.
Correct.
We are parents. We are significant others. We are, I'm a Christian. I'm a sister. So I have so many hats that I wear, and I'm like, beyond the grind of real estate, let's talk about topics that sometimes are maybe uncomfortable. So hopefully in the household, you're listening to it and it's like, I heard this topic. Can we talk about it? Right. So yeah.
Gotcha. So how could they find you? Is it on YouTube? Is it on
Instagram?
Yeah,
so find us. Thank you. See, I'm a dinosaur. I'm still learning this whole social media thing, but we do have a Instagram page. It's Beyond the Grind. Let's talk about it. It's BTG. Let's talk about it. Okay. And on YouTube, you can find our podcast on YouTube, and it's Beyond the Grind. Let's talk about it.
Okay. So that's the podcast. You also have an Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Yes, it is Nicole LaRue _Realtor.
All right, gotcha. I could talk to Nicole for hours.
When the cameras go off, we just might. But check out this man right here. He's a great lender. I love working with him. Honestly, it would be a different. Now I'm gonna put your plug in. Now
Right.
it's honestly a different experience. It doesn't feel just transactional.
Right.
So you are very detail oriented, and I know the clients that we share together, they really appreciate your approach to their finances and just to the real estate perspective. You do a profound job.
Thank you. I
Of
appreciate
helping
it.
them understand.
You never hear that part. You know, you hear it from the clients, but it's cool hearing it from the actual agent.
Yeah, he's great. I love, like, I wish I could close every deal with him. He's really.
Well, you can. It doesn't always happen that way.
I know,
Doesn't
but
always
you
happen
know,
that
for
way.
when it's our choice,
Right.
I'm going with Gary.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I definitely enjoyed sitting here with you. I know we're going to do more episodes together.
Yes.
And
Thank
so
you for
yeah.
having me.
So once again, just go back and listen to this podcast once again, and just listen to all the nuggets and advice that Nicole gave us.
Thank you.
When we're out looking for a home, because I know that 2025 can be, to me, I'm not gonna say a challenge, because I'm fired up. I'm pumped about the new year.
Exactly.
Always, and I'm always just positive anyway, right?
Yeah, you are.
So you could definitely do it. And when you hear people say this year is your year, to me, that's just a way to motivate you and just to push you along so you can start the action. So just don't talk about buying real estate. We have to be about it. We actually have to make sure that it actually happens. So the first step would be reaching out to me, myself, as a mortgage broker, reaching out to your realtor and find out what it takes in order for you to make a purchase. Thank you so much, Nicole, for
Yes,
hanging out with me.
thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, that's all we have.
All right,
Peace.
bye.